Yo, what up, y'all? SloMoBackSlap here, slapping you with another video, and we're gonna get into a very interesting conversation. Today, I want to talk about reviews and whether you need to finish the game in order to do a review. Now, bear in mind, this is just my opinion. I'm not going to start off with this is a reminder of my opinion masquerading as a fact. No, I'm just going to tell you my opinion on this, and then we can have a discussion on whether you agree or not. So first off, this entire discussion is based off of a discussion that happened on Twitter from a Mike D at Mike Diver on Twitter. Mike D is head of content at Gaming Bible. In regards to his comment today, Mike says, reminder that, as if it's not his opinion and that we should already know this, you don't need to be good at games to write about them or stream them or even make them. Now, that first part I can agree with. You don't need to be a great player of games to write about how those games are made, to write about how those games made you feel. You don't need to be good at games to stream them. We see that all the time with streamers who suck at games, and they make a pretty good living off of that. They are entertaining in their incompetency in playing games, and people tune in because they're entertaining. So yeah, absolutely. And you don't need to be good at games to make them. Depending on what department you're in, you could be in music, you could be a programmer, you're just coding, you could be a voice actor, you could be a story writer on the narrative team. None of that requires you to actually be able to play the game well. It just requires you to have a specific skill set in order to contribute to that game being made. Now, all that said, this first sentence I agree with 100%. It's the second sentence that causes the problem. So he continues on to say, you don't need to finish a game to review it, to publish an opinion and score. Parenthesis, most of the time, we don't get the time. And that's where you're wrong, Mike. Because if you're doing a review of the game, you need to let the people consuming your content know that you didn't finish the game. And doing a review of the game that you didn't finish is misleading. Here's a great example. What if you are quote unquote reviewing a game, you didn't finish it, but you thought the story was amazing for the parts that you played, of course. And then you put out your review and overwhelmingly people feel betrayed because as they continued on past the amazing parts, the story took a complete nosedive. Characters started acting out of character. How would you know that you didn't finish the game? What if the game has a massive game-breaking bug near the end of the game where it deletes all your content, it deletes all your saves, it can't be completed because the game crashes every time you reach a certain part? How would you tell the consumer to maybe wait before they play the game, wait until the game is patched before playing it if you didn't even reach that part yourself? What if you're playing a game and the first half of the game is a platformer and the second half of the game is an action adventure game? What if you're playing a game like Nier Automata where the ending isn't really the ending? You have to play through it again to get further information, more context on the story. And then you have to play through it again to get the true ending. What if that's the game that you didn't finish? How would you know? Here is really based off the responses you got, the gaming community explaining it to you of what we want to see in reviews, which is essentially what literally every other entertainment medium gets with reviews. Literally nobody expects to see a review of a movie and have the reviewer not finish the movie, yet still did a review, unless there was a particular reason they didn't finish it. If they felt something was so disgusting or egregious or whatever in the movie that told them, no, I can't finish this. This is just, and maybe that's something that somebody may actually want to know before themselves spending money on it and actually being offended by whatever that reviewer got offended by. Nobody sees a review of a book and thinks that this person only read 75% of it and doesn't know the ending. What if there's a plot twist at the ending? What if all the characters are seen as one way for 85% of the book and then a plot twist comes in the last 15%? How would you know that you didn't finish it? And if I haven't made my point already, thinking that you can do a review of a game without finishing it is false, unless you let people know in your review that you didn't finish it and why you didn't finish it. If not, I mean, essentially what you're doing are just impressions. You want to give your opinion on a game? Fine. We all have opinions on games. Give your impressions of that game. But you need to accurately tell people what that is. And calling it a review is disingenuous. And the part in your parenthesis lets me know exactly why you do that. Most of the time, we don't get the time. Oh, you have the time, but you know that if you don't get your review out within a certain period before the game launches, then you lose on those views/clicks. So that's what this is really about. You don't have the time because you need to get those clicks. And having a better review a week after the game comes out, just not worth it. And so we see you in that too. But to continue on, because he wasn't done, he has a second tweet to follow up. Mike says, whenever I see the usual suspects use these points as reasons to attack individuals, it shows how little they really know about the industry they're supposedly champions of. It's pure pandering, grifting, to an audience of hatred, so far from meaningful commentary and criticism. Really love how he stereotyped everyone who disagrees with this opinion as panderers, grifters, and people who know very little about the industry. Mike, I'm sorry to tell you this, but plenty of people who have been in this industry just as long as you or longer replied to your tweet and didn't agree with you. I guess they don't know much about the industry. Now, Mike would like to bring up a issue that is well known among people in the industry and bring that issue to the forefront about embargoes and how embargoes make it difficult for reviewers to do reviews within the time period that they would like to. Well, sure, that's definitely a conversation that can be had, but that's not what he was doing here. Clearly, he was trying to tell the overall gaming community what is and isn't, what is a fact and what's not a fact. A reminder of these so-called quote-unquote facts, and that simply isn't true. I'm not pretending like I'm this great reviewer. I've done a few reviews. You can check them out if you like. You think they're good content, whatever, cool. But every single game that I reviewed has been a game I completed because I felt the obligation to the people who were watching my reviews that I would know essentially everything that you would need to know about the game before I told you about it. Now, I've done game impressions of games that I haven't completed. And that's the reason why I did impressions, because I didn't have enough information to give you a review. So I gave you my current impressions at that time because I felt what I had to say was pretty relevant. And I knew with time constraints and with games coming out and people wanting to know more about a game at that time and not say a week later once I finally got done with the game to do a review, hey, people may want to know some relevant information about this game, so I do an impression video to give you that. But as Mike knows, and as many of these people in gaming media know overall, game impressions don't get as many clicks as game reviews. So again, this falls back towards you prioritizing money over being honest, over having a high quality review. But you guys let me know what you guys think about this. Am I off base? Am I right on target? Is Mike crazy? Or is he part of the course for many that do reviews in the game industry? I mean, hey, if you are a reviewer as well and you watch this, let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your opinion. But hey, if you liked the video, hit the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. It's all good. And hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content like this in the future. Peace.